Again, most of the wars with which we are familiar have been fought between armies and navies belonging to different nations. Britain and France in the Hundred Years' War, Germany and Russia in the Second World War, and so on. Since the end of the Second World War, that kind of warfare has fallen rather from favour to be replaced with the slow motion fighting, which is known as asymmetric warfare. This is conducted not between regular armies of two different countries, but by civilians or guerrilla fighters who attack a country by means of small scale actions. Of course, if they met a regular army on the battlefield, they would be defeated at once because they are very lightly armed or sometimes completely unarmed, whereas regular armies have a formidable arsenal at their disposal. But by striking unexpectedly at intervals and then fading away, such irregular forces can wage a war of attrition. One thinks of the IRA in Northern Ireland, the Viet Cong in South Vietnam, and so on. Such wars can drag on for decades and can result in a country being so ground down by these small attacks that they are in effect defeated. This is what is currently happening in Britain. Those fighting this slow war represent not a state, but an ideology. The ideology is Islamism, and part of the strategy used is to simply increase the number of Muslims in this country until they form a significant percentage of the overall population. This is also, of course, being done in other European countries, France, for example. From time to time, overt military actions are undertaken by means of bomb attacks, but such things are rare. Another traditional method of warfare undertaken by an invader is also used, which is to say the sexual abuse of the enemy country's women. Then, too, the judicial system of the nation is exploited against it, and the whole campaign is backed up by relentless propaganda. This has been so effective in Britain that those describing and identifying the nature of what is happening are sometimes arrested as troublemakers. Always, the aim is to install Muslims into important positions in the political system of this country and any other country which is being infiltrated in this way. Currently, for example, Britain's Minister of the Interior, known as the Home Secretary, is the highest such post occupied by a Muslim. There are a number of members of parliament in the legislature and many mayors too who are Muslim. Something which makes this gradual approach very effective is that anybody who notices it and talks about what is going on can be swiftly silenced by accusations of racism. This makes people uneasy about drawing attention to the situation. The traditional jihad, which was used with great effect in the Middle Ages, when Muslim armies would engage in a straightforward military campaign against parts of Europe, is no longer necessary. The present methods are very much slower, but when one believes that God's plan is being worked out, then time is not really important. From the perspective of a devout and God-fearing person, there is eternity to play for. What does it matter whether the conquest and subjugation of this or that territory takes 1 year, 10, 100, or even 1,000 years to accomplish? Time is on your side. Instead of warships arriving off the coast of Britain and launching ship-to-shore fire against our defensive positions, small boats carry the invaders to our country. So unwilling are we to recognise the true nature of what is happening that our paramilitary forces, such as the Border Guard, actually offer assistance to the invaders and help install them in our country. This is a truly remarkable state of affairs, one for which I can find no parallel in the history of warfare. At this rate, the conquest and subjugation of this nation will be undertaken with hardly a shot fired. Unless, of course, that is, people wake up and understand the nature of the peril which they are facing. But I am by no means sanguine about the possibility of such a thing. Any country which is so craven and debased as to welcome invaders in this way probably deserves to be extinguished.